She is a PMP certified leader and ITL expert known for driving process excellence and transformational IT initiatives. She brings a unique blend of technical depth and structured leadership, helping organizations enhance reliability and accelerating delivery. So currently working as a manager, release and DevOps at Splash Business Intelligence, has picked an interesting topic for us today. Navigating the first 90 days as a new manager. So please welcome Madhuri Kothapalli.
Thank you, Suresh. I'll be sharing my screen.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Hope you're able to see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, everyone. A very good evening. I'm going to talk about navigating the first 90 days as a new manager. So why the first 90 days are important? Because you're going to set the tone for everything that follows thereafter. So this is our topic for today. Imagine this. You have been the go-to person in your team, sharing memes, lunch plans yesterday, and today you are the one approving leaves and setting deadlines. That's the reality of first 90 days as a new manager. It's exciting, but also a little like switching from being a player to the umpire mid-match. So today we'll talk about how to make that transition smooth, build credibility without sounding bossy, delegate like a pro, and keep your hybrid team culture alive and kicking. So agenda overview. So these are the topics that will be covered in this walkthrough today. Peer to manager transition, building credibility without being controlling, delegation and feedback strategies, fostering hybrid team culture. So I'm going to cover these 4 topics in 8 slides, 2 slides for each topic. The first slide will explain the challenge and what can be done to tackle it. The second slide will exclusively cover the techniques that can be used to handle the challenge in a much better way. Okay, so jumping to our first challenge, peer to manager transition. So the hardest part, your old buddies are now seeing you as your boss. So what do? So navigating the role shift, first acknowledge the elephant in the room. Yes, things have changed. So openly acknowledging this change fosters understanding. Setting boundaries and expectations. So set boundaries, but don't build walls. Think of it like moving from WhatsApp banter to Slack updates or team updates. Professional, but still human in a way, balancing leadership with collaboration. So using empathy and transparency, share your learning curve, invite feedback, and make team goals a shared mission. Fostering shared ownership. So encouraging collective team goals and recognizing contributions bridges the gap between past peer role and the new leadership. So when everyone feels they own the success, you're not just a manager, you're a leader. So there are few techniques for this peer to manager transition. So I'll be walking you through those techniques. The first one is self-awareness. We call the technique name the emotion. So pause and identify how you're feeling at that moment. So this helps you to evaluate how you are feeling, what is your feeling. So you are under control. So next one is self-regulation. So the technique is 6-second pause. So when you're triggered by something, when you're triggered by a statement, take a deep breath and count to 6 before responding. This helps prevent reactive behavior and also allows you to respond thoughtfully. So the next technique is empathy. So you have to do the active listening. So listen without interrupting, reflect on what the other person is saying to show your understanding. You can use, for example, you can say like, what I hear you saying is. So you're acknowledging what the other person is saying. Also paying attention to non-verbal cues and like tone and body language is also very important. So then social skills. So taking name and appreciating. So use people's names in conversation and offer specific and sincere appreciation. You can say something like, thank you, Priya, for stepping up during the last week release. It made a big difference. So you're taking the name, you're appreciating the person. That goes a long way. So these are few techniques for peer to manager transition when you're transitioning from peer to being a manager to the same team. So we'll go to the next challenge, building credibility without being controlling. So You know that moment, right? When you tell your kid to eat veggies, but you're munching on chips. So that's what happens when managers preach but don't practice. So always lead by example, be the punctual one, be the prepared one. Celebrate achievements. Celebrate wins because recognition is free, but it is priceless. So if someone is feeling recognized, they're feeling validated, they tend to contribute more to the team. So next is communicate clearly. So do not rely on statements because you're a manager. Do not rely on statements like I said so and you have to do it. So always explain the why behind your decision, why you're making this decision. Next one is foster inclusivity. Practice active listening and inclusive decision making to respect diverse perspectives. A team will have people with different diverse backgrounds. So always, if you make them feel welcome and welcome to share their inputs, then you're making them inclusive in the decision making. So that will bring out diverse perspectives from the team. So next we'll go for a few techniques to build credibility without being controlling. So these are the few techniques which will help you to build credibility without being bossy. Let's dive into those. The first one is visible accountability. So admit mistakes openly and share your learnings. So follow through commitments even if they are small ones. And you can have a weekly recognition ritual. So you can celebrate achievements using this. Start team meetings with a shout out segment. So mention specific actions and their impact. Decision rational beliefs. So like I said in the previous slide, when announcing decisions, explain why behind them. Don't just give a statement and ask the team to follow that blindly. For this, you can use simple frameworks like context, decision, and impact. So I'll take a small example. So our release cycle needs speed. So we are moving to weekly sprints, which will improve customer satisfaction. So the context here is our release cycle needs speed. We are moving to weekly sprints is our decision. So this will help customer satisfaction is the impact. So always explain your decision with context, decision, and impact. So it will have a long way for the team to positively respond to your decisions. And next one is inclusive planning. You can do a round robin input in the meetings. Invite each member to share their thoughts. There are people who stay silent throughout the meetings and don't share their insights. They may be shy. So if you rotate the facilitation roles, then in that way you can empower the quieter voices. Feedback loops. So invite questions and feedback after key communications. If you feel that teammates are hesitant to share their inputs, then use anonymous forms if required. So the next challenge is delegation and feedback strategies. So delegation of tasks. Effective delegation is a leadership asset rather than a compromise in efficiency. You can start with low-risk tasks. So begin delegating low-risk tasks to build confidence in your team's abilities gradually. So it's like teaching your kid to ride a bike. So you start with training wheels, low-risk task, and then let go slowly. So same way you have to delegate, start with the low-risk task and delegate. So balanced feedback. Combining recognition of strengths with areas of improvement. So focus on clear and respectful communication. This is very important, sharing feedback so that the team member doesn't get offended, but gives his 100%, his or her 100% to improve the performance. So how to give balanced feedback? There are a few techniques we'll go through in the next slide. Empowering team leadership. So mastering delegation and feedback empowers the team and allows to focus on strategic leadership. Let's dive into the techniques for effective delegation and feedback. So for effective delegation, you can use this 70-20-10 rule to balance the tasks. 70% team-led tasks. So technique is assign ownership of recurring tasks or operational tasks. As I come from release and DevOps background, I'll take those examples. So let the team handle the release cycles or documentation updates. So this 70% of team-led tasks we can assign. 20% is coaching and support. The technique is to provide guidance through one-on-ones, mentoring and feedback. So example will help a team member improve the deployment script, a Python script, or troubleshoot build failures. So that is for 20% coaching and mentoring. The 10% is hands-on work for us. So we have to stay involved in strategic and high-risk areas. So example, you have to personally handle customer escalations or critical release decisions. So this is 70% team-led, 20% coaching and support, 10% hands-on tasks. So this is an effective delegation strategy which you can implement in your teams. The other one is the feedback technique, which is SBI framework. The feedback based on situation, behavior, and impact. Just give me a second. So how to give feedback, like just like we discussed on how to implement your decision without just being making a statement, context, decision, and impact. We have a framework for giving feedback also to the team members. So this is called SBI framework. Situation, you have to describe the specific situation, explain the observed behavior, and how the behavior is impacting the situation. So I'll take 3 examples for this. We can give positive feedback, developmental feedback, and constructive feedback. So situation, during yesterday's release planning meeting, behavior, you proactively shared a detailed breakdown of tasks. So impact, which helped the team understand priorities better and plan effectively. So this is, you're describing a situation, you're telling how the behavior is and what impact that behavior had. So constructive feedback also you can share in the similar way. Let's say the situation is, in last week's client presentation, behavior, you interrupted the client for a few times while they were speaking. So impact, which made it difficult for them to fully express themselves, and this may have affected our rapport. So this is also situation, behavior, and impact. So developmental feedback. So when a situation is, when we are preparing the release notes yesterday, behavior, you completed your section without coordinating with documentation team. So impact, this led to some inconsistency in the final version, which required last minute edits. So this is also situation, behavior, and impact. So these 2 are delegation and feedback strategies, which helps you to navigate the challenges in a smooth manner. Going to our last challenge, fostering hybrid team culture. So hybrid teams are like long distance relationships. They need effort to stay connected. So we have to bridge the physical divide. Regular virtual check-ins and team rituals maintain team connection across the locations. Using collaboration platforms, tools like Slack and Teams to help keep the communication and project tracking seamless. So encouraging informal interaction. So informal chats build rapport and trust among the hybrid team members. So defining shared goals, setting shared goals and celebrating milestones fosters unity and motivation. So there are few techniques which will help in managing hybrid teams. Let's dive into those. So virtual team building activities. When you are meeting your team for the first time, the virtual team, so we can use techniques, few icebreaker techniques like 2 truths and a lie or show and tell during a virtual meeting. So what is 2 truths and a lie? I hope most of you might have known it. So how it works, each participant shares 3 statements about themselves, 1 truth, 2 truths and 1 false. So the rest of the team guesses which statement is the lie. So the purpose of this activity is it encourages storytelling, it reveals fun facts, and helps team members get to know each other better. So you can tell, I'll give an example. I have gone skydiving. I can speak 5 languages. I have never had coffee. So these are the 3 statements which I make. So can you guess which one is lie? So you can play games like this when you're introducing your hybrid team for the first time. There is another activity which you can do, which is show and tell. So how it works, team members bring an item, be it physical or digital, that is meaningful to them and share a story about it. So it could be a hobby item, a souvenir, a pet, book, or even a photograph. So the purpose of this is to build personal connection and gives insight into each other's lives beyond work. So example, I can show some artwork made by my daughter. So I can share it that she is creative. It may reminds me of how much joy to see her grow up like this. So when people share that, you get that personal level connect within the team. So one more technique is virtual coffee chats. You can have themed virtual coffee breaks, dress up in a similar manner, have a dress code, and have a virtual coffee break or lunch to encourage informal interactions. Next one is transparency and equity. So rotating the meeting facilitation between remote and on-site teams. So you have a better interaction on who is taking charge of the meeting that day. So when you rotate that, it will be very useful for both the on-site team and the remote team to connect well. So avoid side conversations. This is very important when you're connected to a virtual team. Please avoid side conversations that exclude the remote participants. They feel left out. So this is one more technique. So maintain the transparency and equity. So these are the 4 challenges that I wanted to talk about today. So the first 90 days as a manager, you're setting the tone for everything that follows. So be authentic, be inclusive, and remember leadership is less about power and more about trust. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Madhuri. Very
Thank you,
relevant
Suresh.
for today's